In an alternate universe, this goal would have been for a different club. Probably for the same club this was scored against. Such has been the career of Marc Guehi. From Chelsea Academy to Manchester City, he has had a topsy-turvy journey so far, and yet he's proving to be an elite player. Let's take a look at the making of Marc Guehi. Born in Abidjan, Ivory Coast, Guehi moved to England aged just 1, with his recently married parents seeking a new life away from West Africa. Guehi told in an interview, "Football wasn't something that was pursued as a family. It wasn't the main goal. It was more something for me to do and enjoy as a kid. Education was front of the queue, but football made its way to the front as I got older." Guehi started at Cray Wanderers at the age of 6, where the coach was a scout for Chelsea. He took Guehi to the Chelsea Academy, but according to Guehi, he did not consider football a serious career choice till the age of 15. Guehi showed maturity beyond his age even as a teenager. He has said, "I never had amazing luxuries growing up, so I looked at this as a blessing. But the people around me ensure I keep my feet on the ground, and I'm thankful for that." Guehi became a regular fixture in Chelsea's youth teams. He was part of the team that won the under-18 treble in 2017. In September 2017, he signed his first professional contract. During this time, he also captained the team that won the under-17 FIFA World Cup in India. The following season, he helped the under-18s win a quadruple and reach the final of the UEFA Youth League. However, as we have seen with Chelsea during that time, and to an extent even today, the path to the first team seemed pretty much non-existent for the academy player. During his time at Chelsea, he appeared only twice, both times in the EFL Cup in the 2019-20 season. He was eventually loaned out to Swansea City in the January transfer window of the same season. Thus began Guehi's ascendance through the ranks. Guehi's start at Swansea was anything but good. He made his debut for the Welsh club on 25th January and played the full 90 minutes in each of his next 5 games, but Swansea's form deserted them as they failed to win any of those games, and he got criticized from a portion of their fans. The then Swansea coach, Steve Cooper, defended Guehi, saying, quote-unquote, "It's difficult for young players to make an instant impact." He was then left out of the squad for the next few games, only returning to the squad after the 3-month COVID pause. Swansea secured a playoff spot but failed to gain promotion. Guehi played all of the games of the finishing stretch, including the Championship playoff semi-final that Swansea lost to Brentford. With path to Chelsea's first team still blocked, Guehi came back to Swansea again for what proved to be a breakout season in his career. At the age of 20, he became the backbone of the Swansea backline. He started 40 games in the Championship and helped Swansea secure a playoff spot again. And this time, Swansea even won the Championship playoff semi-final, but failed to gain promotion again as they lost to Brentford again in the playoff final. For Guehi, it was a huge blow as he was searching for Premier League football. With a year left on his contract with Chelsea, with an additional optional year, his best bet was to stay with Swansea in search of Premier League football. But with Swansea failing to get promotion, it was time for him to make his decision of whether to stay at Chelsea and fight for a position in a Champions League winning team or search for another club. He chose the latter. On 18 July 2021, Marc Guehi signed for another London club, Crystal Palace. In the process, he became Palace's 3rd most expensive signing of all time, behind Christian Benteke and Mamadou Sakho. Chelsea included future sell-on incentives and the ability to match any future offers for the player. Over the course of next few seasons, Guehi became an integral part of the Palace's backline. In the first 2 seasons for Palace, he rarely missed a game, making 36 and 37 appearances respectively in the 21-22 and 22-23 season in the Premier League. In fact, in the 22-23 season, Guehi started all but 1 game across all competitions for Palace. In the process, he had already become part of the Crystal Palace's leadership group and donned the captain's armband many times, his first time being the Premier League away game against Watford in the 21-22 season. After playing almost every game in the previous 2 seasons, an injury forced Guehi to be sidelined midway through the 23-24 season, allowing him only 29 appearances across all competitions. In the summer of 2024, Guèhi was named in England's UEFA Euro team and played every minute of the group stage. England ran deep into the tournament all the way to the final, but were defeated by Spain to end up being runners-up. Apart from this, Newcastle chased his signature through the summer, but he remained at Selhurst Park. Not only that, he was appointed the club captain, and thus came his most impressive and successful season with Palace to date. Under Guèhi's captaincy, Crystal Palace won their first ever major trophy, the FA Cup, beating Manchester City in the final. In the process, the Eagles qualified for the Euro for the first ever time. For Crystal Palace, this was a watershed moment. However, through a series of events involving their ownership, Palace had to relinquish their Europa League spot and drop down to the Conference League. But that is a conversation for a different time. The success didn't stop there. Under Guèhi, Crystal Palace beat Liverpool on penalties in the 2025 FA Community Shield, winning the first ever community or charity shield in their history. With the success came the inevitability of Guèhi being chased by other clubs, and thus came the summer transfer saga for Guèhi. Newcastle had chased his signature through the last season, including a reported £65 million offer, but were rejected by the Eagles. However, Guèhi had entered the final year of his contract at Selhurst Park and didn't seem willing to sign an extension. It was said at the time that Guèhi was open to remaining at Palace till 2026, at which point he could leave on a free transfer. Palace, however, wanted a return on a highly sought-after player. The chairman, Steve Parish, said as much, stating, "For players of that caliber to leave on free, it's a problem for us, unfortunately." However, Palace manager Oliver Glasner contradicted Parish's words, stating the following week that Guèhi, quote-unquote, had to stay at the club. Amidst all this, Liverpool was heavily linked with Guèhi and eventually came in with a reported offer of £35 million on the transfer deadline day. Everything was agreed upon, and Guèhi was set to sign a 5-year deal after an hour-long medical. However, the deal dramatically collapsed at the last moment, reportedly due to Palace not being able to find a suitable replacement. It was also reported that Glasner was extremely unhappy at the decision to accept Liverpool's offer and reiterated his plea not to sell his captain on the final day of the transfer window in heated talks with the club's chair, Parish. And thus Guèhi stayed put at Crystal Palace. During this time, it never felt like Guèhi agitated for a move or was not committed to Palace. It felt like Liverpool would eventually get him for free in summer of 2026, but as fate would have it, something else was in store for Guèhi. The 25-26 season saw a very topsy-turvy Manchester City performance. By January, however, City were in a defensive crisis again. Both City's first-choice centre-backs, Diaz and Guardiola, were out due to injuries for extended period of time. In case of Guardiola, it was the entire rest of the season. Stones and Ake had barely remained fit for the past couple seasons, and City were left with a 21-year-old Husanov as their only fit centre-back. The crisis was so dire that they had to recall 20-year-old Max Allen from Watford as a defensive cover and even started him in a couple of Premier League and Champions League games. City were in a desperate situation, and as they say, desperate times call for desperate measures. Manchester City, who were never in for Guèhi in the past couple seasons, went for him hard. On 19th January 2026, Manchester City completed the signing of Guèhi for a reported £20 million on a 5.5-year deal. Guèhi said he was quote-unquote really happy and incredibly proud to become a City player. Thus, his journey with Crystal Palace came to an end. He made 188 appearances for the Eagles across all competitions in his 4.5 years at Selhurst Park and helped them win their first ever major trophy. Since his arrival at the Etihad, Guèhi has gone from strength to strength, having made 14 appearances already and starting all of the Premier League games since debuting for City on 24th of January against Wolves. While he couldn't contribute to City's triumph in the Carabao Cup due to being cup-tied, he's been a big part of City's resurgence in this title run-in and City's push for a domestic cup double, possibly a domestic treble. His goal against his former club marked his first goal for Manchester City. So what makes Guèhi so good? The first striking thing about him is his one-on-one ability. Whether it's aerial duels or ground duels, he's elite in those moments. He can intelligently pin and lock down opponents with well-timed holds, bumps and nudges. He's an excellent blocker who blocks while not overstretching or overreaching with his action, which means he's rarely off balance. He also shows good timing in his blocks, keeping his foot low to prevent low shots or crosses from slipping through underneath. He also offers solid cover as the second defender, positioning himself around and just behind to deal with anything that's flicked on or goes past the initial challenge. In possession, Guèhi is comfortable and versatile. He can break lines with incisive passes through the middle or thread balls around defensive blocks to advance a play out wide. He's also capable of delivering accurate longer passes, whether they are balls in behind or switches of play across the pitch. These qualities make him effective both in build-up and in advanced attacking phases, highlighting the well-rounded passing range expected of a top-level modern centre-back. He mostly plays as a left centre-back despite being right-footed, which often allows him to widen the play as he tends to take touches back toward the centre onto his stronger right foot. In Palace, he could play in all kinds of backlines, be it a 4-man, 3-man or even 5-man backline. In City, he has pretty much played the same position, but his versatility means, if required, he can adapt. Marc Guehi's story is far from finished. If anything, it's just getting started. From humble beginnings to superstardom, Guèhi has achieved quite a bit already, and yet his feet stay rooted firmly to the ground. His talent is such that he's made a name for himself already, being sought by some of the biggest clubs, ending up at one of them, and became England's first choice centre-back, all at the age of just 25. And we can hope and expect there's way more in store for him. Thank you for watching. Like if you liked it, share if you found it worthy, and subscribe for more content like this. This is Salty Football.